Hello everybody and welcome back to Across the Pond, a monthly podcast in which me and QJ discuss the things we've done in the month. This is the final episode of 2016.
Here we are, the year's over.
Here we are, finally, 2016 is over. Please stop killing people we like, 2016.
Yeah.
No more. 2016, please be nicer to us. We don't deserve this.
Oh, that really seems to be the theme of the year, isn't it?
Yeah, 2016 has been terrible. It's been pretty garbage, but hopefully 2017 will be better. Hopefully. I mean, I've had actually quite a good year.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, everyone has been, whining.
Had a pretty bad one.
Yeah, that's true. Out in the world, it's been kind of crappy. But, I've done lots of good things this year. I've been pretty happy, and a lot of that is honestly because of this stupid podcast, making me do things, making me try new things, talk about them. So, there we go.
So
I think the years are going to keep getting better from here on out.
Yeah, let's keep making this show so that we're permanently happy.
Yay.
Let's make extra bonus episodes about the B movie.
No.
I still don't know why you don't want to do that. It's just 20 minutes.
Why
20 minutes
would I do that to myself?
B-movie.
That alone would make this year awful.
People will watch it. We'll get loads of views off of a B movie discussion.
No.
We'll make it real clickbaity.
Stop it. Okay, start the episode already. I don't want to do this anymore.
Alright. Man, I shifted that from positivity to just instant hatred very quickly, didn't I? Anyway, normally you spent the year playing video games, reading books. Normally we start with that, so what you got for us this month?
So, I didn't do a lot of entertaining myself this month. I was mostly knitting. I was knitting Christmas presents for everybody, and so I was sitting in front of the TV, watching Netflix, watching Game Grumps, and just, knitting almost the entire time. So I didn't do a lot of gaming or reading. I did read The Halloween Tree by Ray Bradbury, which I was going to read in October, but I didn't get around to it. It's this really short kids book. It's really cute. It's about this group of boys that go out on Halloween and they lose their friend, and this mystical being takes them on an adventure through time and space about different cultures' Halloweens, and they sort of learn about the history of what each of their costumes mean. Yeah, it's pretty fun. The adventure is cool. Ray Bradbury's short stories are a lot better. His short stories are fantastic. I have a big thick book of all of them, and they always leave me awestruck. But his novels are not as great, I've found, except for Fahrenheit 451, which is fantastic, but that's a little more adult. But his kids' books have cute ideas, but there's something about the way they're written that aids better to short stories than to kids' novels. But that was okay. I wanted to give that one a try, and I did. And I read bits and pieces of other books that I will just have to finish in 2017. But yeah, this month, that's mostly what I tried to finish reading in the middle of Ubering or between knitting. I just was finishing that it wasn't even a long book, and that was all I finished this month because yeah, I was focusing on Christmas and trying to make other people happy. So there you go. And let's see, games. There was a really good Steam sale around Christmas. I got a lot of good Steam games, and I played one called Four-Sided Fantasy.
I've never even heard of that.
You'll have to go watch a
I'm out of touch with video games.
You'll have to go watch a short trailer of it because it's hard to describe. But basically, it's a platformer where you alternate between playing this girl and this boy who I guess they're trying to find each other, but you scroll across the screen, and in order to get past obstacles that are keeping you from getting from the left to the right, you have to freeze the screen because the screen moves along with you. But then you can freeze it so that you can, move within the screen. And basically when you freeze the screen, those four walls are your world at that point. And if you, move out of the left screen, you move into the right screen. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Or if you,
so it's kind of a puzzle platformer type thing.
Yeah. Or if you, fall in a hole, then you end up falling through the top of the screen. So you can use that to, land on platforms or, get past giant walls or trees. And you have to, strategically navigate, how to get yourself across the world by freezing the screen and stuff. And it plays with the background and the foreground, and they're in later levels, they cut the screen in half, and there's different like a winter scene and a spring scene that you have to like drag yourself through. It's really, really weird and bizarre. It's really fun. It was very puzzly, so I loved it. And at the end of the game, there's a really like bizarre, chilling ending that literally gave me chills for like a full minute. I was freaking out. But it was a really fun game.
That sounds really cool, actually.
It was pretty short. I really enjoyed it. It was the perfect little taste of a puzzle.
Nice.
So, yeah, that was my month. I played that game, I read that book, and I knitted 7 billion scarves. Not really, more like 8, but still. I watched a lot of TV shows while I was knitting those scarves. Maybe I'll talk about them later.
It feels like every month your segment of the podcast just gets shorter and
shorter. It was December. I was trying to make presents for people I like. Sorry for having people in my life.
You should just get rid of them all like I have and just be alone. Except I'm not alone, so like that's kind of a lie. But anyway, man, that's it. That's all. So that's essentially how.
That's how I ran out the year. Just like reading and gaming as little as possible and just withering away into nothing.
But you said midway through the year that you were going to combine your two 52 and 52s into one, combining games and books. In total, if you counted games and books, did you get 52 in total?
I did.
I said in total.
I can't remember. I don't want to take the time to count them now, but I do remember I did get more than 52. It was like
awesome.
It was like 30 books and like maybe just as many games because I played a lot of short ones.
That's cool then.
Yeah. Your turn?
Oh, are you just going straight into me? I thought you were going to do like a top 5, top 10.
Oh, I could. I thought I was going to do that at the end. But I could do that now.
This is your segment.
Yeah.
Like, first half of the show is all yours, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, first half.
We can cut this part out. So out of all the games I played this year, I'm looking at my Google Doc now, and it looks like I played 21 games, including watching one and a couple that I didn't finish.
That doesn't count.
Oh,
sure, I'll allow it.
I think, let's see, top 5 favorite games in no particular order. Life Goes On. I would happily play that again and try and get all the achievements.
I love that game.
Yes, you did. You bought that for me last Christmas. I played it near the end of this year.
Yeah. It's a good game. I really enjoyed that game.
I would definitely play that again and try and get all the achievements and like little challenges. Yeah. It was really fun. Pokemon Heart Gold was pretty great. I loved my team. I loved all the stupid little nicknames I gave them. And I really, really enjoyed playing that.
Okay.
Captain Toad Treasure Tracker was wonderful.
I figured that would be on there.
And adorable.
Yeah.
And it was the perfect mix of action and puzzle. And the toads are just so cute, waddling around. And I loved the struggle of trying to get each and every, I think there were gems every level, and trying to get all the 1-up stars and challenges. That was a really fun game. Luigi's Mansion, Dark Moon, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Definitely would play it again. Probably one of the best longer games I've ever played. Like, I mean, you can go in a past episode and listen to the comments I gave it, but that game was amazing. It was, I feel like I don't normally do well with adventure games where I have to try and like figure out all the little secrets and find all the special buttons and trapdoors, and it really usually aggravates me and makes me feel really dumb. But this game was the perfect level for me, and I think it helped me grow as a gamer. So, yeah, great game.
That's cool.
And it was on the 3DS, which was a more comfortable platform for me. I think the best game I played this year was Wind Waker HD. I mean,
obviously, because Wind Waker HD is one of the greatest games of all time.
I absolutely adored that game.
How can you not? It's literally one of the best.
Yeah.
Like, Wind Waker HD, it's just so perfect in every single way.
My most prominent memory of playing that was when I played it all through the night for like 11 hours, and I just couldn't stop because Spiegel wasn't home, so I was like, I don't have to be quiet. And then I forget where he was, coming home from a show probably, and he walks through the door at 6 a.m. and I'm just there not blinking, like, game! And he's like, you're up early, and I'm like, I haven't gone to sleep!
Oh, that's pretty good.
That game is fantastic. Yeah, I liked all the short puzzle games I played on Steam as well, like Party Hard and Limbo.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Katamari Damacy and Super Mario Galaxy for, like, I don't know, the different gaming things they taught me. I had never played a game of that. I keep wanting to use the word platform, but that's not right. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Style?
Yeah.
Genre?
Style, probably. Like, I don't know. A lot of the games I played this year just taught me new things and made me want to explore more games in that, like, yeah, style area.
Yeah.
I want to play the sequels of those games, definitely.
Nice.
Yeah, so those are my favorite games I played this year. I want to play more. I think next year I am going to try and do one game a month to be more realistic with this.
Okay.
And that will help me motivate me to play longer games and not just try and fill up the month with games that take me 4 hours. So we'll see how that goes.
I think at some point next year, I think you should play Skyrim, because Skyrim isn't difficult, but it's like, it's really immersive and just, it's not going to be like a hugely hard game for you to play, but I think if you get into it, it would be really enjoyable for you. But if that comes out on Switch, then you might as well wait for that, I guess.
I have no idea what Skyrim is. I can't even put a picture in my head.
Have you not even heard? Oh, it's like a medieval fantasy type thing where you run around and you throw spells and hit people with swords and basically do whatever you want. Like, there are quests you can follow and you can talk to people and get missions off of them, but you can also just run around killing people if you want, and as long as you abide by the law, you're not really going to get screwed over. But if you kill people in plain sight, they'll start arresting you. It's good. It's a really good game.
Like Party Hard.
You've got a lot of freedom.
That might be cool. I usually need some sort of structure and goal. If you just let me do whatever I want, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? How am I to do this?
The beauty of Skyrim is that you can get that. Like, it immediately does force you into a quest line, but then it's kind of optional. So, like, if it gives you this quest line and this direction to go in, but then if you see something if you head out into the world and, the quest line saying, hey, go to this town, if you want, you can just go, like, completely left field and do something else just because you wanted to do it, and then come back later and do the quest. So it's kind of like, you've got a direction, but you've also got freedom. So
okay.
I love Skyrim. I think if you got immersed in it, I think you'd really enjoy it.
Good suggestion. Put it in the comments.
Everyone would enjoy it. All right, I'm just going to be right back. I'm going to put a comment in.
Okay. I'm going to quickly talk about the favorite books I read.
Oh, yeah, books. Are they cat books?
Duh! No. I don't know how many books I read this year. I actually read a lot more comic books than I thought, so I'm definitely going to be putting comic books in 2017's project. Probably, I'm thinking of doing like one a week, but that would be a series.
Okay.
Like if I read the next, well, let me explain this. So if I choose to read, say, a Wonder Woman run, like I'll have to read all, and there's 8 out, I'll read all 8, and that'll be my week's comic book things. But if later in the year another volume comes out, I have to read it in order to keep it as part of my project log. And then if, say, a new Lumberjanes comes out in 2017, in order to keep it a part of my project log, I'll start from the beginning so that I read all of the Lumberjanes within 2017. So it's not just I'm reading one volume and then counting it as a whole series.
Okay. Man, you're overcomplicating this quite a lot.
No!
But I like it, because it's going to be really funny when you're having to keep track of all these things.
I like rereading things I love.
One comic a week, but I have to do this.
And
it's going to be great.
Manga series count as comics now, because I want to read more of those.
No. No mangoes, please.
Yes.
I don't want any animes. I don't want no Attack on Titans in this show.
What?
I don't want no Naruto's in this.
You know what? I prefer slice of life anime. Thank you. Speaking of anime, I probably also will do one TV show a month, because I like watching new shows, but it's hard to do it when I don't feel productive. So we're gonna make.
You should take my suggestions for shows.
Okay, whatever. So we'll take the laziest activity ever and make it productive by putting it on my project log.
And then knitting can count, because you can watch
TV
while you
one
knit.
scarf a week. I need to learn how to make something besides scarves.
Yeah, that might be a thing you should probably do.
Anyway, my favorite books that I read this year.
Yes.
I said in no particular order for the games, but I ended up saying them in order anyway. But I have trouble ranking books, because I like them all in different ways. But I loved The Martian. I really liked...
The Martian is a good film. I haven't read the book.
Yes, it was a great film. It was a great adaptation. I really liked Lovelock, which was the one with the monkey robot that I talked to you about.
So many of these books have had monkeys in them, like capuchin monkeys, that I genuinely don't actually know which one you're talking about.
What do you mean so many? That was Wait,
You
there's
talked
like
about
two.
several things that have had capuchin monkeys in this year,
Nuh-uh!
and I don't.
What else had a monkey?
It's, I don't know. There was something else. There was at least one other thing that had a
I don't
capuchin
know.
monkey in it.
Anyway, Lovelock was great. Perfume. I'm really happy
yeah,
I
that
read that
one.
because
I
it was one of the
enjoyed-
weirdest books I've ever read. So, yeah, that was
I
a
enjoyed
gem.
story time with QJ on that one. That was funny.
Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones. First book in that series
Yeah.
was absolutely fantastic. I could not put it down. Sadly, the same can't be said so far for Clash of Kings, which maybe we will finish in 2017. I've just been so distracted reading that one. But the first one was incredible. Very, very captivating.
Yeah, I like the moment uni started up again. I was like, oh, reading Clash of Kings. Goodbye. That stopped. Just immediately, I just like had no time to read anymore, and it just died.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. You can keep reading without me if you want. Like, I actually don't mind.
Yeah.
Because I already know what happens, so
That's
it's
true.
not that big of a deal if you talk about it on the show.
I loved the Penderwick series, which was that series about like those four sisters.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
That
Yeah.
kind of reminds me of a mix of like Lumberjanes and Little Women, and it's just so adorable. And I really want the next one to come out, but I don't because that'll mean it's over forever. I love that series. It was so cute.
No.
I think maybe the best book I read, or at least the best novel I read this year, was Ready Player One, which is kind of sad because I read it in January. So it was just all downhill from
That's
there.
alright.
But that was great. That was excellent dystopian sci-fi. I read a lot of sci-fi this
Yeah.
year. I really want to read a lot more.
Oh, do
Best
it.
comic series I read this year was Saga, obviously.
Saga, yeah, I'll allow that. Although Giant Days is better, but I will allow Saga as an option. But Giant Days
Giant
is
Days
better,
and Lumberjanes
fact.
were pretty adorable.
Yeah.
I read a manga series called Library Wars, which is excellent. I don't know if I talked to you
Wow.
about that, but it's really cute, and it's just about like the small government trying to defeat the large government against censorship, and there's like
Okay.
a mini love story throughout the whole arcing thing, and it's like 20 volumes. I love it.
Cool.
Best nonfiction I read was You Get So Lonely at Times That It Just Makes Sense by Charles Bukowski, which was the book of super depressing poetry that I just melted into. And I want to get more of his poetry because it makes me have horribly dark feelings of happiness.
Oh no. Dark feelings of happiness. Okay, emo kid.
Yeah, I'm gonna go dress in Hot Topic clothing and then read my poetry and then
Listen to
Sit
My
by a-
Chemical Romance.
sit by a dark
Fall Out
lake.
Boy.
and draw like
Dark Lake. What?
and then like draw pictures of like
what's the...
lightning bolts and like, horrible sea creatures in a tornado that are strangling
Sorry,
my
what's the
heart.
difference between a dark lake and any other lake? Is this just a lake at night?
There's
or is there a
clouds in the
distinguishing
air
feature?
making it dark because the water reflects the sky.
So the
And
lake
I'm allergic
itself
to the
isn't
sun
a dark lake.
because
It's just
I have
it's just
really light
a lake
skin
on a
and
dark,
dark
day.
mascara.
It's...
You know what? Lakes
I like this
can be
persona
shiny.
you've developed.
Have you never seen the
Can you
sun
just
come up over
be-
the mountains on a lake? It's beautiful and it's bright and you can see the bottom. No, you can't. I lied.
Cool.
Worst books I read this year were the first Wheel of Time book and Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. So,
Everyone hates
Wheel of Time,
and
I get.
love that.
No, everyone loves Wheel of Time. I just didn't like it myself.
Nah.
And I was sorry that I put myself through that. And then Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't exist. So, goodbye. Yeah.
Oh, shots fired. Get wrecked, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. What a... J.K. Rowling, get owned. Nothing you wrote in 2016 was good. Wrecked. Wrecked. Air horns. The joke is that she also wrote a bad film this year.
Wait, what?
She wrote Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and it was bad.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
I mean, it was okay. It wasn't that bad.
Nah, it was like 50% bad, and that constitutes as bad in my books.
I thought it was cute. I mean, I had a lot of problems with it, but I wasn't like, ugh.
Ugh, disgusting.
It was kind of
Get
just
it out.
there.
No.
It was something there that was like kind of on the side of the series, and it's like just there to like be cute. I don't know.
I feel like we covered this last month though, so I feel like we don't need to go back to this.
I feel like I don't hate something as much when I
like
realize
10
it just doesn't
minutes.
matter as much. And I don't think that movie mattered
but
that
nothing
much.
matters. Nothing matters in the grand
Everything
scheme of things.
matters!
We're just a bunch of like electrical signals shooting around some organic matter that's rotating around the sun on a big ball of rock.
No.
Nothing matters, QJ. None of this matters. Cat books don't matter.
Yes,
Capuchin
they
monkeys
do.
don't matter.
Cats are the only thing that matters.
Good. Anyway, are you done? Is
Yeah.
this your part of the show done?
And I think I sort of talked about what I want to do next month. But I talked about video games, comic books, and TV shows. And regular books I'm going to try and keep up one a week. I'm going to try and keep up more with my reading. What?
This isn't happening. Sorry.
Oh no, but I'm going to
you're not gonna
include
read, like...
I'm going to include comic books in that. Like either
okay.
a novel or like a comic series.
Okay, or a manga. Okay,
Yeah, I'll try and make like
that's
half
more
books
realistic.
and half
I thought-
comic series. And of the regular books,
so
I'll
like
try
alternate.
not to read too many children's books. Just like I'm going to try not to play too many 3-hour video games. Because even though
Yeah,
they're
if you're
great
like,
books, it's
one
kind of like
video game a
cheating.
month, and then you play like...
Just
I'm
play
gonna do
Portal
one
every month.
and you play something that takes like 20 minutes. I'm going to be a bit annoyed by that, not going to lie.
Yeah.
That's such a cheat. I'm expecting like big epic games next year. I'm
Yes.
expecting like some Skyrims, some Assassin's Creed, some Bioshock.
Super Mario Galaxy 2.
Super Mario Galaxy 2 I'll allow. Super Mario Sunshine.
Maybe.
Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg.
Isn't Super Mario Sunshine, that's one of those like 3D platformers? Was that on the N64?
No, it's on the game. Never ever say that a game that I liked was on the N64 again. Because that's personally
might try it.
insulting to my honor. I love Super Mario Sunshine. I don't actually think you'd like it because it's kind of dated and it's like it's kind of awkward to control now. So I'll allow it
Okay.
if you don't want to. But
If it's dated, I might not
unlike
love
the
it, but
N64
we'll
kids,
see.
I can accept when something I love is dated. They're all like, Super Mario 64 is the perfect game. And I'm like, no, it's dated. And then they get really upset. Anyway, what am I talking about? Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
I don't know. Other things I want to do next year are learn how to play guitar and learn how to speak German. So
Okay.
there's that.
That's exciting. Keep us updated on that.
Yeah, I tried to do that this year and it just didn't happen. I will keep you
Good.
updated. Anyway, how was your
Right.
month, Dan?
Anyway, my month, I watched like 13 movies, but I'm not going to talk for that long on all of them, so it's alright. Because I've been going to the cinema like a lot recently because of Odeon Limitless, the amazing service where I can go to the cinema as many times as I want for a monthly fee, which means that I've gone to the cinema so many times. So the I'll start that sentence again. So the first thing I did this month was I went to see A United Kingdom, an English film about... It's based on a true story about an English woman who falls in love with the heir to the throne of Botswana in like 1940s, 50s times, old-timies. And it's kind of about her going over to Botswana with him and the local people kind of being like, no. And then the English Commonwealth being like, no. And then like everyone being like, this marriage is not happening. And then we're kind of fighting through it and like the love kind of prevailing over everything else. And people, like the people around them kind of learning to accept that, you know, they're in love and that's what matters. There are some really like amazing quotes. Like there's a point where he's just like, I love my people, I love my country, but I love my wife. And he's basically saying like, I will run this country and I will do everything I can to make it as good as it has to be, but I'm not leaving my wife to do that. And everyone kind of learns to accept that. The English Commonwealth is portrayed really terribly in this film, as it should be, because it was terrible. And it makes it's every time there's a film like this or any form of media that has the English Commonwealth in it, it just reminds us of how terrible English history is and how we shouldn't be proud of it and how we have nothing to be proud of. Because it is. White English people should not be proud of anything we have ever done throughout history.
I feel
We're
similarly
terrible
about
and
America.
we should feel ashamed.
Yeah.
Hey, at least like, nah, actually you don't have much on you either.
I was like, what are you gonna say? What are you gonna say there? Nah, countries that are on top have a lot to feel sucky about, and they don't. They
Yeah.
just sweep it all under a rug. But anyway, we don't have to get into politics.
Yeah, let's not
The
dwell on that. But
that movie's
we
plot
did win the
reminds
war,
me
though.
of
That was cool.
not Revolutionary War. Suck it. That movie's plot reminds me of a movie that's, I don't know if it's out there, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's about like sometime a few decades ago when a white man was married to a black woman
I've seen the trailer for
totally illegal back then, and it was just about them like trying to like live their lives.
Is it called Loving?
Yes, I think so.
Yes. I don't think it's out yet here, so yeah. But I'm definitely going to go see that when it does come out. Cause
yeah, I'd like to see it too.
The trailer looked great.
Looked really sweet.
I really like that kind of subject matter that is kind of like uncomfortable, but people are making films about it.
Yeah, I think it's important.
So that's cool, and I like that film. It's a really good film. Like, I definitely recommend watching it. It's good. What was that noise?
Oh, I got a package in the mail. I just opened it.
Oh, I'll cut this. It's fine. Don't worry.
No, this is great. You have to keep that in.
Ruin my segment by opening a package in the middle of it.
In the middle. You just barely started. Get to the next movie.
Oh. The next movie was The Edge of 17, a film that follows an American teenager in high school whose life just keeps getting worse. Like, she's really sullen and sarcastic, and just every turn things get worse and worse for her.
She sounds great.
And it's funny, it's got a lot of heart, and it's kind of relatable, and it's a fun, immersive story. Like, I really enjoyed this film, and it was like at the start of the month, and a lot of this month's kind of been like a massive cluster of garbage going on in my life because I've had a load of coursework in, and I've been stressed about that, and I was ill for a bit, so I've forgotten a lot of the start of this month, so I don't have my notes are terrible for this one, so I don't have a huge amount to actually say about it, but I really enjoyed this film. Like, The Edge of 17,
cool.
Great film, really funny, a lot of heart, really entertaining, just really got me. Woody Harrelson's in it, and Woody Harrelson, I don't think I've seen anything where I haven't loved Woody Harrelson. Like, he's such a great guy.
Nice.
Just love that guy. So yeah, then I went to see a film that you've seen, and I think you'll be able to agree that this film is easily one of the best films that's come out this year. Moana, Disney
Excellent.
have done. Just, it's so good. Everything. Some people have been like, oh, the story's really predictable though, and I'm like, yeah, it's a children's film.
Well, yeah, that was
the journey, the characters, the dynamic. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, that was Spiegel's problem with the film, is that he said it was very paint by numbers, and to a degree, I agree. But it's like you said, it is just like a Disney film, and a lot of the things that the characters did or said or went through, you were like, okay, I could see that coming. That's been in films 100 times before. But what I always say about books or movies or shows or anything is that there are very few stories that are original anymore anyway.
Yes.
And you can see a story done 1,000 times, but that doesn't mean that the first one is the best. And there's always going to be someone who can probably do it the best or do it better. Yeah. And I think Moana did it wonderfully. It made me laugh so many times. The music was captivating. And
oh my God,
it was very
every song on that
heart-wrenching.
soundtrack is just so perfect.
Yeah, the past couple days I've been driving around listening to the main song and all the reprises and just being like,
everything about it, and the story was predictable, but the thing is, I find, and I'm going to talk about this later because there was a film later on where the story was predictable and I didn't enjoy it because I was thinking about the story. With Moana, I wasn't thinking about where the story was going because I was lost in it, I was lost in the setting, in the characters, in their dynamic, in the aesthetic, everything about it.
And I think that's good filmmaking.
I was able to immerse in, and the way the story was told meant that I didn't care where it was going. I was just there for the ride.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also visually it's beautiful.
It was beautiful.
The hair, the water, everything is so gorgeous.
Half that movie was hair. Yeah. There were a lot of little things about that film that just made it seem more like it was coming kind of from real life. And part of those things were that there were a few times where Moana and Maui, when they were about to go do something important or complicated, they would put their hair up in like a bun. And I'm like, that's totally not necessary. But it's little things like that when filmmakers do that with animated films, or any films really, it's like, just makes it seem a little more like, oh yeah, this is a real person, not just a stick on a page.
Yeah, okay. This is a dividing point about Moana. What did you think of Hey Hey the Chicken? Because I loved him, and everyone keeps saying, oh, the chicken jokes weren't funny. And I'm like, yeah, they were, shut up.
There's always going to be like a little... there's always going to be a dumb character there that's just for comic relief. And normally they're overbearing and obnoxious, but I think Hey Hey was fine. Like,
Yep,
he just kept trying to, like, peck at stuff that was not food, but he didn't really get in the way. And that's my only issue, is when they get in the way. And,
yeah,
you know, there was a point where he kind of saved the day at the end, and I'm like, wait,
it was cool. I like that.
You're supposed to be stupid, but, like, I think I think you should have ruined it. But Hey Hey was fine.
Yeah, I thought that was I thought some of the best jokes came from him. Like, when Maui's just like, boat snack, that just got me. Like, that was such a good line. But yeah, I love Moana. I've seen it twice. I want to see it again, but I think it's out of... No, actually, I think it's still in cinemas, but there are other things I can see. So
I'd see it one more time.
They take priority.
It was just, it was really very moving. And I did not predict the ending. Where, if we can just, like, spoiler alert, the ending real quick, when Te-Fiti turned out to be, like, trapped or, like, possessed or whatever by the lava monster, or, like, she became it because her heart was stolen. I didn't see that coming, and I loved it.
Like, I didn't see that coming either, but retroactively I'm like, oh, this all makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
but like you said, it's the kind of thing that I didn't even have time to predict because I was so immersed in what was happening with the story. Yeah,
and people have whined that, like, the coconut guys only exist to sell merch, and I'm like, no, they exist to show you that the sea is dangerous, and they also give a good break in the film.
I wouldn't think they would even...
It's an action break for dialogue.
Yeah, I wouldn't think they would even sell that
every
much
time
merch.
someone whines about something in this film, I'm like, I have a perfect counter argument. Like, one of my friends was whining about, you know, in You're Welcome, when Maui's singing, and it cuts to 2D animation briefly.
Yeah.
One of my friends was whining about that and how it looks weird and unreal, and I'm like, yeah, the point of that though is that it represents how Maui is constructing this fake narrative. It's representative of what's actually happening. It's supposed to look fake. That's the point.
Yeah. I love when animated movies get a break from normal animation and, like, sort of tell a story with, like, a different style of animation. I thought it was awesome.
It was a cute little way of visually representing something in a medium that because you can't do that with live action. You can't just randomly change the style like that to represent. Well, you can, but it would look weird. But with the way they did that, it was intelligent. It was a clever way of using the visual aesthetic. And that style sort of
continued in the entire film with Maui's, like, little moving tattoos, which I thought was a really cute, like, character thing. Yeah, I liked that. I thought it was cool. Anyway, Moana, I loved it. The only couple issues I had with the movie were that the ocean as a personified character had a few too many Deus Ex Machina moments, to the point where I'm like, are you going to let these characters do anything themselves? Or every time they're in trouble, the ocean's just like, I got it. And I'm like, if you can do everything yourself, then why are these characters even here? But like, whatever. Yeah. I think the purpose of Moana being there was that she needed to bring, like, her island's, like, history of, like, voyaging, like, back to their culture and that kind of thing. Yeah. She was the kind of person that would be able to do that. Another issue I had was just, like, the predictability of the story when Maui left and was like, the ocean chose wrong, and she was like, I can't do this, choose someone else. And I'm like, okay, I know this is gonna, like, just, like, go back. Yeah. Like, they're all gonna, like, rise to the occasion and be like, I can do it. And I'm like, all right, we can move on. Yeah, but I really liked the musical number that came after that. Like, I did too. I thought it was really good. Like, I can't fault this movie. I love it. It was so good. Oh man, loved it. Mm-hmm. So then, just to move on, because otherwise I could gush about Moana for like hours. I easily could. So the next movie I watched was Bleed for This, a boxing movie about, it's about a true story. It's following this guy, whose name I forget, who at some point in time, I don't actually remember, it's like maybe the 90s. Don't know. He was a boxer who was, like, at the top of his game, and then he got in a car crash, and he was told that he would never walk again, let alone box. And then he basically fights through it and, like, trains to box again and ends up winning. Spoilers, it's a boxing movie, you know he's going to win in the end, whatever. But it's a shame, because it was a really interesting story, right? But the way it was told was really clunky, and kind of the pacing was weird, and it was a bit slow at times, and it didn't hold my interest that well. So, like, it's annoying, because I wish this story was told better. The film didn't deliver as well as it could have.
Miles Teller gives a friggin' excellent performance as the main character. Like, it's such a shame that Miles Teller was in the terrible Fantastic Four film, because every other film I've seen him in is like, he was in Whiplash, he was in this. This guy is such a good actor. Like, every time he gives a powerful performance. And he's the saving grace of this film. Like, without him, it would just be terrible. But yeah, it's okay. It's just not. It's just not that good.
That's fair.
The next one I'm just gonna kind of gloss over. The next one is a film called Befikra. It's a Bollywood rom-com that I went to see just because it was on, and one of my friends wanted to go and see it.
I see a lot of Bollywood
It was
films.
fun. I know, it's because I have an Indian friend from my course who just he's just like he's as passionate about film as I am, so he goes to the cinema as often as I do now. So he'll be like, "This Indian film's coming out, come see it with me," and I'm like, "Yeah, let's go see an Indian film." So it's cool. Like, I quite enjoyed it. Like, this one was pretty good. But I'm not a huge fan of rom-coms, so like when it's like they're a couple and then they're not, and then it's like, will they get back together? You're kind of like, yeah, they will. I know I was just talking about, like, it's not about the end, it's about the getting there, but I feel like this film, the getting there wasn't solid enough for me to really care that much. Like, it was funny, don't get me wrong, but it just, I don't know, it's just kind of okay. It was an enjoyable enough film. The main lead had some really, like, his face, for some reason, he kept doing these, like, really funny facial expressions, and, like, that was the joke, just that he was doing a funny face, but his faces were so good. Like, he would just do a dumb face and you'd be like, oh man, that's funny. That's just funny. Like, his dumb face is
Some actors have good voices, some have great facial expressions.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny.
That just was the standout thing about this film for me. But it's enjoyable enough. Like, I had fun. I'm not going to complain that I saw it, but, you know, it was good. The next film is a film that technically isn't out in the UK yet. For some reason, my cinema just did like 3 showings of it, just in the middle of nowhere, and then it's supposed to come out January 1st, so I'm like, okay, what? But it's a film called A Monster Calls, which is based on a book that, I don't know if you've read it, but the film's really good, so maybe read the book.
I saw the, like, what's it called? The picture rectangle for it, the poster.
The picture rectangle.
I saw the poster for that and it looked cool, and I saw that it was based off a book and I was interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw that you said it was pretty great.
It's one of the best films I've seen this year. It's absolutely amazing. It's beautiful. It's basically about this kid who is learning how to let go of his mum as she slowly dies.
Oh.
And it's if you watch the trailers do not actually show this film very well, but then you couldn't show this film well in a trailer. Like, you can't really get what it's about kind of across. But basically he keeps having these dreams where a monster, like this giant tree monster voiced by Liam Neeson, kind of tells him stories, and these stories all have like this meaning that comes together at the end, and it's so beautiful. Like, it's really touching. It's one of the best kind of stories about the grieving process I've ever seen. Like, it hits exactly every nail on the head about like the point it's trying to make and what it's trying to say. And it's perfect. Like, I've kind of been through the same scenario when I was younger, and I cried at this film quite. I'm not ashamed to admit this. I cried quite a lot at this film, and I think it's amazing. It's emotionally powerful. It's incredibly well made. Nice. The kid gives a great performance. Like, often a kid actor will ruin it. This kid actor just is so good. Everything about his performance is fine. Like, it's never off-putting. He's just in it, and that's good. Just everything about this film, I would definitely recommend it. Like, if I was going to recommend any film I've seen this year to people, this is probably the one, like, that I would say everyone should see.
Okay.
It's friggin' amazing.
Nice.
Like, absolutely. I loved it. So then I'm going to move on, because this is going to be a big chunk of the film. The episode. This is going to be controversial.
All right.
People aren't going to like my opinions here. Rogue One is a boring film. Rogue One is a Star Wars prequel in the same way that the other Star Wars prequels are Star Wars prequels, in the way that they're bad.
Really?
No one is going to agree with me on that. Okay, so
I haven't seen it. I don't feel like I'm a nerd enough to need to see it.
It's not worth it. It's just not. It's a story that didn't need to be told. It's not like with the other Star Wars prequels. It was a film that didn't need it. the original Star Wars prequels was a story that was interesting enough to need to be told.
But it was
But they
told
ruined
poorly.
it. Whereas Rogue One is a story that didn't need to be told because it doesn't matter and was told boringly because, like, you know,
Kind
how I
of
was
like
saying earlier,
Fantastic
like,
Beasts. Like, it doesn't need to be there, but it's there.
no, because Fantastic Beasts is like its own thing. It's not like with Fantastic Beasts, it's completely separate. Whereas Rogue One
Sure.
leads directly into A New Hope because it's them stealing the plans for the Death Star. So like, it has this problem where if you know Star Wars, it's boring because you know full well every character in this film is going to be written out by the end of the film because they're not in A New Hope. You know,
Sure,
I feel like
yeah.
that's not a spoiler, like, duh. But if you're not a Star Wars fan, you have no context for anything that's happening, so you're not going to understand when one guy keeps going on about the Force, you'd be like, what the hell's the Force? You're not going to understand anything. So if you know Star Wars, I find it would be boring, because you know what's going to happen, and as I said earlier about Moana, like, when you know what's going to happen in a film, it's about the journey and it's about the characters. But this film has, like, the most two-dimensional, dull, boring, uninteresting characters I've ever seen in a film. I just do not care about anything any of them are doing because I don't. The film doesn't develop them. There's you. You
I have
just
a
get
feeling
no
we're going to
sense of,
get
like,
a lot
why
of pretty
they
good
do.
comments about this.
Ah,
Maybe even
get no-
2 or 3.
I know, right? You get no, like, sense of who they are or what they're about or what they believe in or, like, why they're doing anything they do. Like, the main character starts off being like, oh, I don't want to be involved with the rebellion, and then she has one scene where she talks to some rebellion people, and then suddenly she's all about the rebellion, and I'm just there like, why? Why are you doing any of the things you do? And then there's a guy that's basically just like Han Solo, but with a Spanish accent and less like charismatic or interesting. And I don't know why he does anything he does. And then there's the blind guy and his friend who has guns, and they do nothing for any reason. They just kind of like bum about with the main characters because they can. Like, the only interesting character, like the fact that the only character who I understand the motivations for is the robot who's literally states in the film, I'm only here because I was told to be here. That's a bad sign. That's such a bad sign. Like, there's a review by the fictional reviewer Mr. Plinkett that Red Letter Media put out recently, where he basically states that a good film needs there's a checklist of 3 things that films should have: character, story, and emotions, and that Rogue One has none of those. And he kind of equates it to like a cake. Those 3 things make up the cake, and then humor and action are the icing on the cake, and that Rogue One is all icing. Like, it does humor and it does action, and it does both of those incredibly well. I'm not going to fault that. Like, the whole thing is well directed, the cinematography is great, the comedy is pretty on point, but there's no story, there's no character, and there's no emotion, so the entire thing just falls flat to me because I'm like, I don't care about anything that's happening on screen. You can have all the cool explosions you want, but I just don't care about them because
You don't
I
like
care
eating
about the
icing straight
people
out of the
around
can.
them. You can eat all the icing you want, but you're gonna get diabetes. But I'll link that review in the description because I think it pretty much puts my points across exactly how I want to say them, but in a way more eloquent manner. The final point I have on this is, it's kind of spoilers, but it's not really a spoiler. I guess if you care about Rogue One, there's an annotation on the screen right now. You can skip to the past the spoilers. QJ, you don't care, do you?
No, I'm barely listening.
Okay, so good. So basically, they use CGI to recreate Grand Moff Tarkin when they shouldn't have. They basically, because the actor who played him, Peter Cushing, has been dead for a while, so they're like, okay, we're gonna CGI him. And I'm all for CGI, right? I love CGI. I think CGI can be used incredibly well. It's a tool. It's a filmmaker's tool. But when it's used badly, it is terrible. Like any other tool. You know, you could use, practical effects badly, but it's slightly harder to do that than it is with CGI. CGI, because if you put a human face next to a fake human face, the human brain, and I don't care how many... If people are coming at me saying, I didn't realize he was CGI, you're wrong, you did. Your brain, don't lie to yourself. Your brain can notice that. If you did not notice that CGI Grand Moff Tarkin was CGI, then something in your brain is broken, I'm sorry. Like, something in the part of your brain that recognizes human faces is broken because his face looked plastic and weird, and the expressions, the way it moved, it was wrong. It just looked wrong. And they could have worked around it so many better ways. They could have had Grand Moff Tarkin be a hologram the entire time and be micromanaging from a distance, and then when, like, like the guy in the white coat whose name I forgot gets really mad because Grand Moff Tarkin's stolen his like thing, it'd make more sense because he's been doing it from a distance, and it's like he's not even here. Why is he taking all the credit? Like, it would have made more sense. Why Rogue One? Why would Anyway, so this film just annoyed me basically.
Okay.
I'm done with it now. I'm done talking about it. The next film. The next film was suggested to me by Joseph Hunt, who was on a roll. Note the term was.
Oh.
Until he suggested an anime movie.
Wait, didn't you watch an anime movie last month? Or was that suggested by someone else?
That was suggested by someone else, and it was like the month before. Now, he suggested Castle in the Sky, which is a Ghibli.
Studio Ghibli?
That one, yeah, they did it.
Wait, what was it?
Castle in the Sky. It's about some people, and they're going to do a castle, and it's like it's a wacky, fun adventure. But I don't know. I think it might be the way that 2D animation does faces. I just can't connect to a character when they have no expression, really. I think that might be my problem with anime. Because the other 2D animation I watch is stuff where it doesn't follow arcs. Like, I watch, Gravity Falls or Rick and Morty, where I don't need to care about the characters because it's just about goofy 20-minute like action or whatever, 10-minute, 20-minute action.
Sure.
Whereas in a film or something with a long arc, like an anime series, I need to care about the characters, and I cannot connect to a character immediately when they have no expression. Because 2D animation is really boring to me. I struggle to really get behind it unless it's something short and compressed. So something like this, where I find myself not caring about the characters because of that, and I think I've pinpointed why I don't like anime, and it's that. It just ends up being kind of boring. Like, I just don't care, so I'm not invested. And I feel really dumb. I feel like that's a stupid reason not to like something, but it does affect me. And it does impact my opinions, so I guess that's fine.
I don't know how I feel about that.
But I found this film, it had some funny moments. Like, the pirate characters who go along with them, they're pretty funny. Like,
I still haven't seen
this
this
really
one.
Enjoyable kind of...
Like, it's strange to me that you've seen a Studio Ghibli that I haven't.
No, I found it weird because
also, I don't know if it's Ghibli or Ghibli, so who cares?
Yeah, who actually cares? I've heard of a lot of their other films. I'm surprised this was the one he went for, to be honest. Like, I was expecting if someone was going to suggest one of their films...
Well, I mean, I'm not going to stop bugging you until you watch Spirited Away. I don't care how you feel about every anime you've watched up to now. It's one of the best animated films ever made.
But I feel like it's just going to... Well, because suggest it in the comments, except you're not allowed to. Like, someone else has to.
I do what I want.
Yeah, well, I won't listen to your suggestions in the comments. But yeah, anyway, it was fine. I feel like it's just my personal issues that made me not really enjoy this film. I'm not slamming it for the same reasons I am something like Rogue One, where like it's just kind of trash, and everyone who did like it should probably question their opinions. Cast in the Sky just kind of exists. I imagine it's a fun, enjoyable film for anyone else. I just, for some reason, couldn't get invested in it, and that's okay. I'm allowed to have that. The next film I saw was Passengers, a film with Chris Pratt. And you get to see Chris Pratt's butt in this film, and it's really good.
Oh, nice.
Like, there is some good naked Chris Pratt in this film.
Is it the best part of the film?
It's a science fiction story where basically people are supposed to be in stasis, but then they're not, and they get woken up early, and they're like, what the hell? What's happening? And then they fall in love, and it's a whole thing. And the thing is, the science fiction is really weak in this.
Okay.
But I didn't realize it while I was watching it. Like, a lot of the science fiction, the issues I have with the film, I only thought about when I left. Like, I was like, oh, that was dumb. Because when I was watching it, it had me immersed. Like, this has been a running theme for this whole episode, I feel like, because
immersion.
Like, it's the same thing. It's the issue that Rogue One had, right? But on the flip side, where Rogue One was like, this film is boring me because I don't care about anything, so I can pick out every little flaw it has.
Yeah.
Passengers had loads of flaws, but it immersed me well enough in the characters and their story that I just didn't notice any of the flaws. I didn't notice any of the issues because I was sitting there like, man, I care about this. I care about these people. I care about their characters.
I never thought about
I care about
that
what's happening
before with films. Like, the more you're immersed in it, the less you care about, like, the stupid problems.
Because there are so many tiny issues I had with Rogue One that, like, that I wouldn't have noticed if I was more immersed in the story that I just glossed over.
Well, like, and that happened to you, like, with Avatar
it.
and, like, with a bunch of others where, like, you picked out all these problems that just, like, did not matter, but that's because you didn't care about what was happening.
Yeah. If I don't care about a film, then my brain has to entertain itself somehow, and it starts nitpicking. It starts going, that's a problem, that's a problem. And if Passengers hadn't been so immersive as a love story, essentially, I wouldn't have liked it, because I would have picked out every single issue the science fiction had. But it was a really solid love story. It was just like, and I don't often like love stories. I wasn't expecting to like this, but
love stories are like any other story. They can be done bad, and they can be done well. Like, poorly, I should say.
Yeah.
English.
But it's two excellent actors, like, really playing off of each other in, like, good characters, and just, it works. It works really well. Like, Chris Pratt, Jennifer Lawrence, just a good pairing. Like, it's great. I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
The next film I saw was Collateral Beauty, a film that's quite moving, actually, quite emotionally moving. It's pretty good.
Oh, okay. That's that new Will Smith movie.
Yeah. Will Smith has lost his daughter, and his friends kind of try and help. Well, it's a film that, like, I don't really want to talk hugely about the plot, because it's one of those films where you don't... anything I say will basically spoil something. Like...
Sure.
It's not as easy. Like, with Moana, I can just say, like, oh yeah, it's about a journey where Moana goes and finds Maui, and then they return the heart to Fiji. Like, it's not a spoiler, it doesn't matter, whatever. But with this film, like, the plot points kind of, like, are important, like, are quite important, so I don't really want to talk about them. But
so you kind of figure out what the plot is, like, as you go. Like,
yeah,
you have to find out what the movie's about while you're watching it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's better to go in not really knowing anything about it. But Will Smith gives, like, a great performance, like a really, really good, powerful performance in this. Everyone else is good in it. It's pretty solid. Like, there are two kind of major plot points at the end, one of which I thought was absolutely excellent and, like, made the entire thing kind of fold in on itself perfectly. The second one I thought was kind of dumb, but I can't really say what it is without spoiling, so I'm not gonna. It's a whole thing, don't worry about it. Yeah, it's a pretty good film. I enjoyed it. Like,
all right.
I
interesting assessment.
I can't say anything bad about it. It was just pretty good. The next film I saw was a film called Ballerina, which I researched. Apparently it's not coming out until June under a different name in the US, which is weird, but it's a French-Canadian production, an animated French-Canadian production.
Oh, I saw a trailer for that.
A French orphanage. I liked this film. It was pleasant.
I want to see that film because I took ballet for a while, and it looked so pretty.
It is quite pretty, yeah. It's weird because the animation style is kind of awkward. Like, it feels kind of, because they're obviously like an upcoming studio, so they don't have a huge amount of budget to, like, make it really fancy and polished, but it's stylized well enough, and it has really good lighting and stuff that it still looks great. Like, a lot of the dancing and stuff looks great. The animation for the dancing is really, like, it flows really well.
I imagine you have to have a very specific set of team members to animate something that's very focused on dancing, because you would have to play around a lot with lighting and shadows. And I always really respect animated films when there's a lot of different sort of, like, movement, like either fighting or dancing, because you have to make it look like real people.
It has to be fluid,
especially with ballet, where, like, there's lines and curves and movements that have to be so stringent when you are a real person doing it. So to make an animated character also do those things correctly, I'm sure they had a team of ballerinas, like, in their studio, just, like, doing stuff, recording, taking pictures, and then they would have to draw those. Like, I love animated dance numbers for that reason, because I know a lot of work goes into it.
Yeah, I read that they had some famous, like, ballet dancers in, and I think they, like, motion captured them. Maybe, I don't know though. So yeah, it's a good film. I definitely recommend seeing it when it comes out, because I don't know, it's blatantly geared towards, like, younger girls, because it's like, oh, follow your dreams. Yeah, you can achieve anything if you work hard. But it's got enough heart, and it's a good enough story that I enjoyed it. I followed it, and, like, I'm not a kid.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was fun. It had solid amount of, like, emotion, character, and story in it.
Yeah, it looks
I think I'm gonna take that, like, emotion, character, story thing from Mr. Plinkett, by the way, because, like, that's actually a really good way of summing up, like, the three things a film should have.
Yeah, fine.
But yeah, it's a fun film. I enjoyed it. It had some really good points. Like there were some really high moments. Like there's her friend Victor's like a good character. Like I really enjoyed him. It's just good. Like I enjoyed it. So then I watched. Let's go from a real pleasant film, a really pleasant, uplifting film, to Trainspotting. One of the one of the like most slightly depressing. Have you seen Trainspotting? No. It's pretty good. Like it's about a group of Scottish heroin addicts trying to not be heroin addicts, but then kind of being heroin addicts again and fighting through it. And there's a sequel coming out this year. That's why I watched it. It came out in like 97, I think. It stars Ewan McGregor. It's really good. Like it's well directed. Ewan McGregor gives a great performance. It's weird because like the opening sort of like 5-10 minutes are actually almost a good advert for heroin, like because he's talking about like, oh yeah, heroin's good because you just don't have to bother with all the issues of life. You just like, oh, you just got to focus on the next hit. It's great. And I actually started thinking like, man, I should do heroin.
Oh my god,
like that would improve everything. But then like as the film goes on, like it gets you on this like right at the start, you're just like, man, heroin sounds awesome, I should do that. And then throughout the film it just like deconstructs exactly why taking heroin is terrible and you should not do it. And it's
interesting.
Like while these characters are like just messing things up, and it's really funny. It's just roller coaster.
That actually
like, just
sounds like a cool film. Like just like
it's really good.
Going through like sucky people's lives. And like, like narrations just on drugs. Yeah, I don't know why that sounds like something I'd be interested in.
They're all terrible people, and like Ewan McGregor's character's just like there, and he's also pretty terrible.
So it's like a slice of life film, but a slice of awful, messed up, dying life.
Slice of awful Scottish life. Like there's a piece of dialogue at one point where they're just talking about how Scottish people are the worst and how Scotland is the scum of the earth, and it's like, oh, this is great. I love it. Like it was really entertaining. I'm quite excited for the sequel now. Like it's a good film and it's well directed. Cool.
That doesn't sound like something that could have a sequel, so that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm interested because the ending leaves off on this really interesting point, and I'm like, okay, now because I only watched it because the sequel's coming up, and I see everything that comes out in cinemas, so I'm like, I'm going to have to see the first one to get the second one.
Yeah.
So let's do it. Like I just did it on a whim like last night. It was pretty good.
Cool.
So then the final film I watched is a film called Monster Trucks, which is about a teenager in America who has a monster living in his truck. And it's by the director of Ice Age. Ooh. And I was expecting this film to either be really terrible or really hilariously dumb. But it's neither of those things. It just kind of exists.
Okay.
There's nothing special about this film. It's not like... That's my major problem. I wanted to either hate this film and be able to rant about how bad it is, or love it because it's like hilariously stupid, like kind of Ice Age 4 type thing, where I'm like, I love this because it's dumb and pointless.
It's just kind of
But it's not. It's neither of those things. It's harmless. It takes no risks. It's by the books. It's just so mediocre that it annoys me. It's like I have nothing...
I always wonder how those films come about. Like, clearly he got some sort of funding for that, so it must have looked like a good idea. But then he was just like, I'll just make it and not worry about it. And like, I don't know.
It'll make money off, because it's appealing to its target audience. Like, it just doesn't make any form of point. There's no reason for it to exist. There's nothing strong, like, particularly good or bad about it. It's just
was
there.
it successful? Like, did it sell?
Who knows? I don't know. It came out, like, a couple of days ago, so I have no idea. Like, the cinema was fairly full, so I assume it's...
I haven't heard of it.
Families are going to see it. But it's just... I wanted to hate it, but I don't. It's
a way to end on a very lukewarm note. Don't get me wrong.
It's not a good film. It's just like, there's nothing specifically bad about it. It's just kind of like...
Just kind of happened.
It's there. It's not good. I didn't really enjoy it, but I didn't hate it or dislike it at all. I just kind of, meh. I don't have any strong opinions, and it annoys me. I want to be able to...
Yeah, that's how I felt when I watched The Black Cauldron. I watched that like a month ago, and it's one of those, like... It's like a really old, beloved Disney film that a lot of people have nostalgia for, and it's known for being one of the darkest Disney films because it just deals a lot with, like, devils and demons and, like, bringing people back from the dead and, like, not dying and, like, not destroying the universe. And, like, the prologue is like, oh my gosh, this is dark. But then the movie was over and I'm like, oh, okay, like, fine. Like, whatever.
Okay.
It's done now.
Well, yeah, so Monster Trucks, I don't go and see it. I don't recommend it at all. Like, even if you want a film that's so bad it's good, it's not. It's just, it exists. Like, I can't, there's nothing to hate about it.
You mad, bro?
I wish there was. I don't like the film. I don't know what specifically I don't like about it, because I was
a
immersed
waste
enough.
of time. Couldn't
Yeah,
even
I
hate
was
it.
immersed enough in the story to, like, care about this, like, I was like, oh, cool, I wonder where this goes. Like, I wasn't excited to find out what was happening, but I wanted to know what was happening, so it's like, it wasn't even boring. It wasn't dull, it was just there. It was just, like, fluff. Well,
okay,
it's annoying.
then.
I want to be able to rant. I mean, I did rant about it, so at least there's that.
I'm glad we've ended the year on such a lukewarm note.
That was December. Since you got a little bit of time to say what you're doing next year. Next year, I'm going to continue to watch films. I don't know what I'm really going to do, because I'm watching a lot of films at the moment, and I feel like my sections of the show are getting really kind of heavy and chunky. So what I might do is I'm thinking of, alongside this show, I'm thinking of starting up a blog where I type out more concise reviews, so I can get all of the kind of points I want to make, like, out in text through that, and then I'm gonna more casually talk on the show.
We can link those in the
some
descriptions.
films, so for some films where I don't have a huge amount to say, I can say, like, for example, with Collateral Beauty, I'd like to be able to, like, if I had a post about that on a blog, I could go, it's a good film, it's pretty good, give you the basic idea of what I thought about it, just kind of gloss over it, and then say, and if you wanted more detailed thoughts with spoilers, here's a post.
And you can go gush about Moana for 10 paragraphs.
Yeah, and then I can do a massive, like, essay on how good Moana is and how it's perfect and how anyone who says anything else is stupid. So that's what I'm thinking of doing for 2017. Aside from that, I'm not going to add anything. I think movies is fine for my section. It's something I care about a lot. It's something that I'm really enjoying talking about on this show, so I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to keep taking suggestions. Don't be off-put that I don't like anime.
Oh, speaking of suggestions, I just wanted to put in that I can't pronounce this commenter's name. It's like ITAFD Gaff.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, the one. It's like he has letters.
ITAFTRS. He recommended that I read The Neverending Story, and I just want to say I have read that. I read it a few years ago, and it's fantastic. Excellent suggestion.
Cool.
I'd say keep suggesting me things, because that book is wonderful and you have great taste.
Awesome.
Just wanted to put that in there.
Yeah, I liked it. I like getting suggestions. But yeah, so keep it up, keep commenting. We love your comments. One other thing, because QJ did her, like, best of, worst of for the year, I'm going to do that as a separate episode.
Yeah.
Just because this one's running on quite a lot. I'm going to do a bonus episode where I'm going to run through the 10 best films that came out in 2016, and then the 5 worst that came out. The reason for that is just, I feel like it's more relevant.
I will talk about how happy or sad I am about your horrible rankings, which I'm sure they are. Just kidding, I'm sure they're fine.
I mean, and then alongside that, in the description, I'm going to link the entire ranking of all 65 movies I did in the year. The reason I don't want to, like, go through the whole list is just because it would be too much hassle. No one wants to listen to that, so I'm just going to concise it down to the top 5 worst, top 10 best that came out in the year, and then you can go and look at the list otherwise and leave a comment if you think something in that list is ridiculous, and I'll respond to that in the comments. But aside from that bonus episode, also, if you want to hear us talk about the B movie for 20 minutes, leave a comment asking for that, because we'll totally do it. Look, if QJ refuses to do it, I will find someone else to do it, and we will.
No, you won't.
Do it as an episode.
You don't have any other friends.
We won't do it as an across the pod. We'll do it as an episode of the
No,
main
it can't
podcast.
exist. It will not exist.
I'll bring Chris in, and we'll talk about the B movie for 20 minutes.
I don't think
maybe
even
more.
Chris
If you want longer,
would lower himself to that.
Someone will. I will get someone to talk about the B movie with me. I swear, if someone asks for it, I will do it. I'm not even joking. It will happen. And then we'll just be mean to QJ the whole time because she refused to do it with me. I think the B movie special would be funny.
The year is over.
Anyway.
Bye.
2016, goodbye. We'll see you for the bonus episode. It'll come, like, I don't know, tomorrow, day after, who knows, whatever. Like, it'll be soon. And then you can see what I thought, how I ranked all the movies of this year. But yeah, we'll see you in 2017.
See you next year, everybody. Goodbye.